Hello, everyone. My name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is January 4th, 2023. I said that correctly, 2023. And question is this the beginning of the bull run? Is this the move we've been waiting for? Is it finally here? Okay, that's the question. And it's a valid question for many reasons that we're going to get into today. But let me just say one thing. Nothing lasts forever, okay? We've been in a bear market, in a sideways accumulation market, whether you like to consider the sideways accumulation part of the bear market or just the drawdown of the bear market, it doesn't matter. But we've been either down or sideways for a long time, right? About 600 to 700 days in Bitcoin and in crypto. And one day, it will be it. One day, it will be over. One day, the trend will change from sideways back up. Or from down, if, let's say, we're completely wrong about this channel of accumulation, and this is just an intra-wave move, meaning the larger trend is going to continue down after it's finished this accumulation, okay? Either way, one day, it is a fact, almost 100%, that the trend will change. That is the nature of markets. Markets, they vary, they alternate between up and down, and between the up and down, you have some sideways. Okay? That's just how nature works. That's how life works. Okay? It's never always daytime. It's never always nighttime. It's never always winter. It's never always summer, so on and so forth. So the question is this the day? Is this the trend? Is this the impulse? And that's what we're going to get into today. Hope everybody's doing well. It is unseasonably warm in the DC metro area. It's January. It's early January. It's almost 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's cool, but if you know anything about weather, when it's really unseasonably warm, and, just a few days ago, it was Arctic cold, those two things don't mix. It's probably going to yield some nasty, a cold front and a hot front. I'm not a meteorologist, but, that's just common sense. Extreme cold and extreme hot, when those meet somewhere in the middle, you're going to get some nasty storms. So, hopefully that doesn't happen, and if it does, everybody's safe. All right, back to crypto. So we're on about Bitcoin, and we're looking at this range, and we're saying maybe, just maybe, we were correct about this right here being our bottom, okay? Because we drew in that blue rectangle as a support. And the reason we drew it in as a support was that we saw this as being some sort of 5-wave corrective sequence, and this subsequent 3-wave move as being the counter to that 5-wave sequence. So this was our support. Okay, that's the Elliott wave sort of vantage. The other way to look at it is just simple pattern analysis. Okay, breakout from resistance, retest, support, sideways, the real breakout. Okay, this has been our analysis for quite some time. That's why we put in this blue rectangle. This should be what takes us up and out of this range of accumulation, okay? And now if we zoom out on a little bit of a higher time frame, we look and see if we do eventually successfully come out of this accumulation and turn it into a rounded bottom, then we make a bottom for this entire range, okay? And what is that range? Let me draw that a little more nicely. That range is our bear market accumulation. It's the 200 or so days that we absorbed the supply, the drawdown of the bear market, okay? Went sideways for quite some time, almost 200 days or a little more than 200 days. We made an ultimate bottom, which the Wyckoff people would call a, what do they call it? A spring. That's what they call it, a spring, okay? We come down below the bottom or the support of the range. We don't break it, we just wick below it. And now we come up and out of it. And that, let's now zoom out a little more, on an even higher time frame, changes the entire trend of this correction. So that was the impulse, 5 waves up. This is the counter correction, right? Or intra-wave correction of this trend right here. 3 waves down. This was the entire sideways accumulation of this drawdown, right? And now the trend changes back to the original trend, okay? That is the calculus. That's the move. That is the higher time frame read. Guys, do you see how we blend the higher and the smaller time frames and we look at it as a contiguous read of the market? I know a lot of analysts, they I don't know if they think, or at least they present the smaller time frames and the higher time frames as different. So we're bullish on this time frame, but we're bearish on that time frame. It's like you want to bring all of your analyses on different time frames together to make sense of what's going on and have one thesis, central thesis for what's happening in the market. Or else it's just absolute confusion and people are just saying words and there's no clear picture. And when you don't have a clear picture, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to trade, okay? And the reason that we've been accumulating positions, actually ever since this level, right? We've been accumulating positions in crypto is because we've been reading this as 5 waves up and 3 waves down. And so the accumulation has been, okay, something's going to happen. You're going to get 3 waves and then you're going to get a move back up and out, okay? So that's been our thesis, our trading thesis for a long time. You could say ever since May of 2022, right? So for almost a year, that's been the name of the game, accumulate positions. Okay, I think everybody understands that. Now, let's look at let's look at the DXY. I want to look at the DXY because I said yesterday very clearly that I think, and I believe, and I think this is a really good way of looking at it. The bull market starts in earnest. Okay, that's the question posed by the title of this live stream. Is this the move? I think it is. Why? Because the DXY says so, okay? If you missed yesterday's live stream, I essentially showed how the DXY was in a very, very good place if you're bullish. Because it looks like we're about to break down spectacularly, okay? If you look at the DXY, since 2022, May 2022, okay, so basically when we started going sideways in Bitcoin and crypto, you see that we've been forming this head and shoulders. It's a bearish construction, right? And this head and shoulders, any head and shoulders pattern is confirmed once you break the neckline, okay? So the neckline has been broken, okay? Broken in December. What happens after you break any significant support or resistance? You have to retest it. That's exactly what we did. We broke it, and this 3-wave move right here is the retest of that neckline. So once this 3-wave move finishes, that is the start of the bull market. This is exactly what I said yesterday. And so now that we have the higher time frame vantage of what we're looking at on a smaller time frame, let's zoom in. So let's go into the hourly time frame, or even let's go into the 15-minute time frame, okay? Because now we really want to hone in on this retest, right? This 3-wave retest of that neckline. Remember the neckline that we showed on of the higher time frame head and shoulders. It looks like this is rejecting that this is rejecting just like we thought it would, right? This intra-wave correction just hit its target, and now you get some sort of consolidation reversal pattern, and then you start the breakdown in earnest of the DXY, okay, of that high time frame head and shoulders pattern that we've been forming for hundreds of days. And that yields the bull run in Bitcoin and in crypto, right? Remember, crypto doesn't necessarily go up because somebody decides to put in a ton of money in an asset, okay? Let's be more specific in saying this. Bitcoin doesn't necessarily go up because somebody decides to put in billions of dollars into an asset, into Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's about, at this time, a $400 billion asset class, okay? To move a $400 billion market cap, you have to use billions of dollars, right? 1% of 400 billion is 4 billion. So just to make a 10% move, you need $40 billion. Who's buying $40 billion worth of Bitcoin at any given moment in time? Even as an aggregate, right? Retail investors aren't doing that. That's not what fluctuates the price. I always say on this channel, if you want to understand market fluctuation and how such a large market cap changes from one way to another, you have to look at the underlying asset. You have to look at the DXY, the US dollar, which is what most Bitcoin is purchased with. When it loses value, Bitcoin automatically gains in value. When the US dollar gains in value, the opposite happens. So this is why we're so focused on the DXY on this channel. This is why we look at the DXY. When the DXY goes down, as we said it's likely to do, after this one move right here, right? Once we get this breakdown in earnest, Bitcoin will automatically gain strength, right? Because just doing the math, guys, if you buy one Bitcoin with, $16,000, but now, sorry, I'm trying to write legibly here. Okay, that's approximately the price of one Bitcoin right now, okay? If you buy one Bitcoin with $16,000, that's always one Bitcoin. Doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin goes to. But what happens if the DXY, or the measure of value of the dollar, decreases? By definition, for this to remain 1-to-1, right, an equal ratio, the price, the valuation of your Bitcoin that you purchased has to go up. Does that make sense? This is essentially it. This is what moves the market. So when we're looking at the US dollar currency index, when it goes down, then instead of $16,000, you could say now your value, the $16,000 you used to purchase that one Bitcoin, now is actually, let's say, what? $14,000, because the dollar lost strength. By definition, for this to remain a steady ratio, the value of the Bitcoin that you purchased has to go up vis-a-vis the dollar amount that was put in. I hope that makes sense. This is how you have massive fluctuations in the price of Bitcoin. This is why, for the past 12 years, Bitcoin and the US dollars have been inversely proportionate, almost exactly, perfectly so. And this is why, when you look at the DXY about to break down spectacularly, it coincides with the bull market in crypto and in Bitcoin. Because this is how the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. Not necessarily because a lot of people all of a sudden are going to flood billions of dollars into it. No, because the underlying asset value, so the dollar, because we measure Bitcoin by dollars, right? People like to say, oh no, measure it in sats. No, we're not there yet. We're still thinking, how much is a Bitcoin in dollars? Everybody thinks in dollars. That's just how the world works right now. When the dollar goes down, Bitcoin will go up. So this is why we're looking at that, and this is why we think this is indeed a likely beginning for the bull run, because this pattern that I talked about yesterday in yesterday's show is complete. I hope everybody understands that. That's my analysis, okay? So that's looking at the DXY. Let's look at another aspect, okay? We don't use this as a main indicator. Excuse me. Our main indicator is the DXY, okay? Other than reading the crypto charts, Bitcoin chart, we're using the DXY to really understand where the market's at, okay? And this segues nicely into, just looking at the charts, because right here we're looking at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, as everybody knows, is a measure of how much a market cap of the entire cryptocurrency market Bitcoin comprises. So when Bitcoin's dominant, it's like, pretty much of all the 20,000 cryptos, Bitcoin makes up most of that in terms of market capitalization, right? But in a bull market, when altcoins are surging in value, Bitcoin's going up, but not as much as these altcoins, Bitcoin dominance goes down. Bitcoin dominance always goes down in a bull market. If you don't believe me, backtest it. That is not a belief, that is a fact. I'll repeat. Bitcoin dominance always goes down in a bull market. Anybody tells you otherwise is lying, and you can prove that, you can verify that by looking at the chart. I'm not going to argue about this because it's clear as day. Just go side to side, have your chart of Bitcoin dominance and your chart of the crypto bull market. Okay, the Bitcoin bull market, and you'll see every time Bitcoin surges in price, right? Not correctively, but impulsively, and the rest of the market follows, Bitcoin dominance comes down. Bitcoin dominance, excuse me, right now is about to come down once more in an epic way. As you can see, since 2018, you can see this big head and shoulders pattern, again, about to break down, okay? So for 2023, I expect Bitcoin dominance to come down to this level, to 23.9, okay? But this indicator is kind of secondary, okay? It's kind of showing you what's happening. It's not causing anything to happen. The DXY is a primary indicator because it's causing the moves in crypto. It's causing the fluctuations in Bitcoin, okay? But the Bitcoin dominance is essentially another read of what's already happened. So it's just showing you what's happening, right? Bitcoin dominance going down is showing you that altcoins are gaining in strength against Bitcoin. So on the daily time frame, you can see that move is right about to happen. And on the smaller time frames, very, very similar to what the DXY is experiencing, you have a breakdown, a retest, and a likely subsequent breakdown. Okay? That's what these indicators are showing you. When you're talking about if the bull run's coming, a lot of people have different opinions, as always, right? Everybody has an opinion. You're never necessarily going to have a consensus of opinions. Some people are going to believe this. Some people are going to believe that. A lot of people are saying we're going down to 6,000 to 9,000. Some people say, oh, we're gonna move sideways for another few months or whatever. All that stuff, okay? But I think what's really important as speculators, as analysts, as investors in this market is that you learn to do your own research. Even the most rudimentary research. You're not necessarily listening to one person or another. This, I think, is part and parcel of what's so fascinating about the crypto revolution. And it is a revolution. It's a financial revolution. It's a revolution in which the legacy financial instruments have been democratized for the average person. Let me give you an example. I have multiple positions on leverage, okay? I don't have a Fidelity or a Charles Schwab account or a financial advisor. I don't have any of that. I don't have a ton of money use to build these positions, right? I don't need them. I don't need special accreditation to make investments in these assets. No, I could just open up an account on a trading platform like a Femex or a KuCoin and build a position, for better or worse. Okay? And so, because everything's been democratized, because everything's been so open, it's now, it behooves you, the investor, the speculator, the lay person, okay, non-financial, financial practitioner, to understand just basic financial analysis and not go in blind. Okay, so when you're looking at the DXY, you're looking at Bitcoin dominance, and you see, oh, Bitcoin dominance looks like it's about to puke. That is a likely sign that the bull market's coming, if you understand what Bitcoin dominance is. Don't take my word for it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Do not take my word for it. Use this as inspiration. Use this as an encouragement to learn these skills on your own. And read it. I can't really explain it to you any better. Okay? If you don't see it, you don't see it. And for a lot of people, this is just a nonsense. I'm just, drawing lines and looking at random charts. It doesn't mean anything. Well, it doesn't mean anything because they don't understand. But once they understand, how to read candlestick charts and how to read trends, then it makes perfect sense. Okay? And if you want to be successful in the markets, you have to know a little bit about this. Or else, how do you know when to buy or sell? Are you going to just listen to me? I'm one of many voices. Why should you listen to me? Why shouldn't you listen to Crypto Savvy? Why shouldn't you listen to Crypto Crow? Why shouldn't you listen to any other person out there, right? Or maybe you should listen to Garrett Soloway because he's on TV, right? He says it's going down. Why don't you listen to him? Why would you listen to one person versus another? Whether you know it or not, at every moment in time, you're exercising discretion. Even if you say, well, I don't know anything about this, I'm just going to listen to that person, you're exercising discretion. You're saying, I'm going to trust this person and not that person. Well, instead of doing that, trust yourself and be very clear as to what you're doing. Okay? That's been my what would you call that? My entreaty to listeners forever on this channel, and I think it always will be. No matter how successful I get, no matter how long I stay here, it's not, listen to me, I'm right. No, learn how to do your own research. Whether you're right or wrong, you're going to eventually win by learning how to do your own research. That is part of the crypto revolution. Okay, anyway. This is likely a turning spot for this, okay? For Bitcoin, okay? And so now, if we are indeed beginning a bull market, as we saw with Bitcoin dominance going down, this should mean that altcoins should lead the charge, right? Because in a bull run, as we said a few moments ago, Bitcoin dominance goes down because altcoins lead the charge. Altcoins are more volatile than Bitcoin. They have a lower market capitalization. They're more nimble. They're more volatile, yes. So if we're in a bull run, they're going to have greater returns to the upside. And if we're in a bear market, it's exactly the opposite. They're going to have, it's exactly the same rather. They're going to have more downside fluctuation, more downside, right? Bitcoin goes down 15%, altcoins are going to go down 35%, something like that, right? So this is why now we should be able to look and see any watch list. So this is just my watch list. If you follow this work, if you follow my channel, you know. This is a collection of assets that I'm actively trading and monitoring, okay? And that I've actively accumulated over the past few hundred days in the bear market. Now, if our thesis is correct and we're entering a bull market, what we should see, by and large, is these altcoins outperforming Bitcoin. And what do we see? What's the biggest performer here? Okay, in this daily, so this daily change percentage, if you don't know, is a 24-hour thing. And I think at the moment now, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the clock restarts. So from 7 to 7, right? 7 p.m. to 7 p.m., from one day to another, it shows you the daily percentage gain or loss. When it's green, it's percentage gain. When it's red, it's percentage loss. Okay? And thus far in the day, the biggest gainers in this watch list are Synthetics, Cardano, Dogecoin, Ethereum. Okay? The smallest gainer is Litecoin, or Dent. Okay? But again, just on average, because a lot of these moves happen, it's not necessarily because it's the smallest gainer now, it's going to be the smallest gainer after 24 hours. My point is this. On average, whenever you look at Bitcoin, aside from next to a bunch of altcoins, it's going to be modest in gains versus those altcoins if we're in a bull market. That is another indicator. That's just like looking at Bitcoin dominance, except it's a more organic way to look at Bitcoin dominance, right? Because you're essentially just comparing the two, right? These altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin. That's essentially what I'm saying, okay? And that's kind of what you're seeing here. You're seeing a trend. Bitcoin's down, or it's up a little bit, but a lot of these altcoins are up multiple times, they're up much more than Bitcoin, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. And this is even more exaggerated, more pronounced rather, on larger sample sizes of altcoins versus Bitcoin. Look at Ethereum Classic, Near, Happy, Filecoin, Ava, Compound, AVAX, Dash. Do you see what I mean? Bitcoin's in the 1%, but most of these altcoins are doing much more in terms of upside, okay? Bitcoin's going to get there. Don't worry. It's just not going to do as much, okay? So this is why in a bull market, this is what you're looking for, okay? So this is another instance, another indication that we may very well be at a bottom, okay? That your analysis, I think good analysis, I will always say this. Good analysis, it's a bunch of data points, right? And you just try and link them together to make a stronger case, okay? So you're building a case, just like any case, just like when you grew up and you have to do an essay, 5-paragraph essay and 3 supporting arguments or something like that. Like, that's all you're doing here. You're making a supporting argument for a bullish or bearish case. And the supporting argument for the bullish case is the DXY, is Bitcoin's price action, right? Basically, your technical analysis of that actual chart on multiple time frames, and then Bitcoin dominance. What's the rest of the market doing alongside Bitcoin? It's looking very bullish. All right, so that's essentially it. I mean, just going through and looking at all these other assets, you can see it's very bullish looking. Looks like this is some sort of accumulation, and this is some sort of breakout. Okay, that's Ethereum, and I'm on the daily time frame, by the way. Okay, looking at Litecoin. Here's what I see. Litecoin's been very well, a very strong performer, okay? Very strong performer, but I do see the following. Okay, I could be wrong, but I do see the following. I see this as 3 waves. I see this as 3 waves. I see what's happening here as a pivot. I see a 3-wave move down, like this. That's what I see in Litecoin, okay? I do see a 3-wave move down to complete this. And I would not be surprised. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to think. Is this a... Um, I don't know. I could be wrong, but if I'm trading this, which I am, I'm that's my worst case scenario, something like that. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Just you know, be mindful of that. Okay, I would not be surprised if that happened because look, this looks to me like it's corrective. 1, 2, 3. Do you see what I mean? And if you measure it, if we get 1 to 1, 2, 3, 6 extension, right? Yeah, you see that? That's corrective. That's corrective. Do you see that? 1, 2, 3. That's 1 to 1, 2, 3, 6 extension. Typically, what am I talking about? Any ABC move, okay? That's A wave, that's B wave, and that's the C wave. The C wave extends to between 1 to 1, 2, 3, 6 on average, right? Of A retracement of B. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Do you see that? A, B, C. Wouldn't be surprised if you had a quick wick down like this to complete this entire corrective move right here. Okay? Like that. And I don't know if this is a 5-wave move or a 3-wave move. If this is a 3-wave move, you're coming down to at least the 786 of this. Okay? If this is a 5-wave move, obviously you're coming down to the between the 0.5 to the 0.618. But I think the way this looks, that this is a 3-wave move. Okay? If I had to bet, this is a 3-wave move, and you're looking at something like this, down to the 786. So if I'm in Litecoin, I am protecting against this downside right there. Coming down to between 53, right? Usually these retracements go from the 786 to the 914 between 53.5 and 49.8. Okay, that's what I'm looking at in Litecoin. Okay, so just be cautious. Okay, people invested in Litecoin. Be cautious. All right. Let's see. I gotta make a decision myself because I'm currently in this, but I just don't like the way this is moving. Yeah, I just don't like the way this is moving. I'm gonna have to. That's my analysis. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, but I gotta think about it some more. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Algorand. Look at that. That's very, like that, successive bullish days. Okay. Just, this is a daily chart, so each candle is a green, is a day's worth of price action. Could you come down a little more? Sure. But it looks like it's turning. Okay? It looks like it's turning. That's a little harder to read because the context is one massive corrective wave. Okay? And so you're basically, you're dealing with a corrective wave on the high time frame. It's hard to say exactly what's happening and when it's going to happen. It's not like looking at Bitcoin on a high time frame and seeing a 5-wave move up followed by a 3-wave move down. Here it's just a little more, there's a little more uncertainty here. And this is clearly an impulse. The thing is, and this is clearly kind of the last one. It could be the last move of the impulse, but you can't say that this is a consolidation at the end of the impulse. No, because this subsequent drawdown has broken the 1618 of any of these reported A waves. Basically, what I'm trying to say is this move up is likely to start some sort of this move up is either the complete end of this massive accumulation or correction, or it's going to start some sort of consolidation, reversal, something like this before continuing. Okay, so that's Algorand on a high time frame. Lots of uncertainty there, by the way. Dodo, this is a little more straightforward in terms of this being clear accumulation, consolidation, and you're at the bottom of this range, right? And so you're starting to turn up, which you would expect. You know, you find support at the bottom of the range, and so you're looking to go up. So that's nice. Okay, Dogecoin, very popular. A lot of people like it. Likely, very likely that all of this was some massive accumulation, consolidation, reversal pattern, and this is the last bit of it, right? If you look at it, I would say that this is A wave, B wave, A wave, B wave, massive A wave, massive B wave, and this is your move. So this would be 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. And this big move right here is your pivot. That's how I'm reading it. Okay? So it's very, very likely that looking at Dogecoin, this is your bottom. This is where you're taking off from. And this is what we've been saying since, you know, we hit these lows right here. Highly possible. Highly probable. Everything's possible. Highly probable. Okay, reserve rights looking good on the daily. Okay, this is not exactly sure what this is, but if this continues to go up and breaks this right here, actually, let's zoom in a little bit. If reserve rights breaks this right here, this level right here, which it rejected from, but it could just be a consolidation, okay? If it goes through here, then that's it. That's it. Likely it, okay? If it comes back down from here, I expect a little more sideways action before moving. Okay, but just again, why is this called the daily Bitcoin update? Why do we look at Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large? It's because it's really difficult with a lot of these charts, with a lot of these projects, where you don't have that much data to say this is likely happening or that's likely happening. Yeah, it is a little easier to just look at Bitcoin and say, well, because this is happening, the rest of the market is likely to follow suit. And that's what typically happens, right? So when we look at Bitcoin and what it's about to do and what the DXY is doing, there's a high probability that these assets are going to find bottoms where they found bottoms and continue to the upside, right? And follow Bitcoin's lead, even though they may outperform Bitcoin, right? And lead the market. Do you see what I mean? They follow that trend. Synthetics, looking good. Looking good. What I will say is this. Again, on a higher time frame, a lot of these newer altcoins, you don't have that much data for, right? And on a high time frame, it's just a bit of a messy some sort of corrective wave that you're dealing with, okay? And so you're basically, you're not buying blind, but you're just getting some sort of support level. You're buying some sort of support level, hoping that it reacts from that support level, which it has, right? Again, if you look on the higher time frame, yeah, this is the support level that you're buying off of that you created in June. Okay, you came back all the way down to this support level. And so hopefully you do get a move up from here. But it's hard to say just looking at the chart because you don't have that much data. You don't have much context to say this is this and that is that. But on a smaller time frame, in synthetics, this looks like some sort of impulse, okay? And this looks like some sort of consolidation reversal pattern right here. All of this, okay? This looks like some sort of 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. So I think this is, it is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's encouraging that this continue up as an impulse, as a de facto trend change, because you put in the absorption. All this supply dumped on the market in this small time frame was absorbed right here, like technically speaking, right? This looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This looks like the consolidation reversal pattern complete right here. And this is the absorption, and you change the trend, okay? Dent. Okay, this one's tricky, but again, you don't have much data. You don't have much to go off of, okay? A lot of these altcoins, you're kind of buying blind. It's not like Bitcoin where you have all these years of data and you're like, okay, this looks likely, right, based off this analysis. You're buying some support and you hope it holds, essentially, okay? So this is my support level. This is the range that I'm seeing. This is the accumulation, consolidation, reversal range, okay? And so I'm buying the bottom of these ranges and hoping that, you know, we get some reaction. And the bull market starts, obviously, when we break this upper resistance, okay? We could see that we tried here, we tried here, and this is the third time. So 4 times a charm. That's the analysis. On a smaller time frame, you can see that you've put in an accumulation triangle here, okay? And so this, sorry, we're looking for a breakout here, okay? We're looking for a breakout here. A breakdown would probably result in a move down here and then a move up. That's how I'm seeing it. SHIB. Let's go back on the daily time frame. Okay, a big accumulation reversal pattern. Okay, big accumulation reversal pattern. And again, a lot of these altcoins haven't had much time in the market. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that just a bunch of accumulation or a bunch of corrective waves. There's never been a clean bull market in SHIB. If you know how to read charts, you can see there's never been a clear, clean bull market, a clear, clean impulse in SHIB. It's just been a bunch of up and down, corrective price action, okay? And so the idea here is we're reading this as being the final accumulation reversal pattern, right? 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. And again, you're buying support. You don't know exactly in what context on a higher time frame because this is all you have. You only have what is this? 2 years worth of market data, but you're using Bitcoin as a proxy, and you're reading this accumulation and you're buying the bottom of a range. That's the best you can do. Actually, any buy in this accumulation range, this is why we call it accumulation range, is a great buy. So anybody who bought SHIB in the past year has a legendary buy. It's just people who don't know how to read a market will say, oh, that's not good because it's down. It's been going down, down, down. I had a friend who, very dear friend, he bought SHIB because I said, it was one of the best performers just a few years back. And it has a lot of potential, and it has a lot of potential for upside, price action. And he said, oh, I sold at a loss because he needed the money or whatever. But if you really understand markets, and if you read charts, and if you're savvy about, what you're investing in and how you're investing, you can see anybody who's bought SHIB, for instance, since May of 2022, has bought it in an accumulation range. What is likely an accumulation range? You don't know, but this support level is 3 years old now, almost 3 years old. Do you see what I mean? So you're basically buying on support. You just have to wait for that to play out, okay? So that's the analysis, guys. I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh, I know exactly. No. But we use these tools, we use these insights to increase our probabilities for success. That's the idea. You don't know for sure, but you read and you make these decisions based off of higher probabilities so that you increase your chances of winning. That's the whole point. Cardano, okay? Kind of like Bitcoin, you can see it went up 5, came down 3. Okay? Went up 5, came down 3. Now for Cardano, came down a little more than Bitcoin did, because I think it came down all the way to the 0.618 of the 5 waves. Let's try to make this catch. Okay, if you take Cardano from the bottom to the top, you can see you came all the way down. This bear market has come all the way down to the 0.618. So you're at mathematical support. Any buy of Cardano here is epic. Any buy here is legendary. But both are great because it's likely that what you put in here was a small degree consolidation reversal pattern. So we're going to zoom in and look at that. And indeed, if you just pay attention, you can see on the small time frames, what you did in Cardano was put in 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot on a smaller time frame. A wave, B wave. That's your first degree. A wave, B wave. Second degree. Okay? And then a pivot. 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. And then a trend change. So this is why AB bases are hard to read, because if this is true, if this is accurate, if this holds, that will mean that it took all of It took all of 32 weeks to form an AB base consolidation reversal pattern for a trend that took, let's see, if this is accurate, then you went down for about 470 days. And then in 2 weeks, all you did was take 2 weeks to put in your technical, 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. But. Technically, you also put in a really protracted wave 4 that went sideways enough. So technically what I'm saying is correct, but don't forget, the market always has a way of balancing out. So this sideways price action in Cardano proved not to be the bottom, proved not to be the final consolidation reversal, because this breakdown clearly broke the 1618 of any A wave that you could measure here, okay? But what happened is, functionally, you were able to absorb a lot of these orders in this region, and then a little more drawdown, you absorb the rest of them. So at the end of the day, the market still ends up doing what it needs to do to balance out. Does that make sense? This is subtle. It can get tricky, okay? But would not be surprised if Cardano changed the trend back into this uptrend from this downtrend. So uptrend, sideways, downtrend, sideways, uptrend. Do you see? But here the sideways is a little tricky because it was both, you had a small consolidation reversal, but actually a larger one in the shape of a wave 4. I don't know how many people listening to this right now actually understand what I just said, but that is high fucking level shit. When you're talking about AB basing, we're talking about absorbing supply. That is, I mean, I'm learning it as we go. I'm learning it as we go. I never thought that was possible. That, oh, once this AB base breaks, then it's over. You have to do another, multiple month AB base. Not necessarily. The market just uses this as a de facto AB base, even though it wasn't the bottom. That's amazing. That's amazing to me. It's kind of like watching something in nature rebalance, and you're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, say, I don't know, what's an example? A tree growing through concrete or growing around a metal barrier or something like that. It's like, oh, could it do that? It can do that. Oh, that's pretty amazing. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's my analysis. So we'll see what happens, yeah? I do think Litecoin's coming down a little bit before it continues up. Okay? But I do think that in the aggregate, this is the beginning of the bull run for all those reasons I stated, okay? And our main indicator, the DXY, is showing us that, okay, something's happening. So that's it for me, guys. I hope that you have a great day. I hope you're well positioned to take advantage of this trend change. And I'll see you tomorrow.